I think you're supposed to say 3.
Oh yeah, you're right. I'm supposed to. I
only
always
2 or
forget
1.
that.
We're already live.
3, 2. Welcome.
All right. And we're live now. We weren't live before. Great. Good.
Nobody saw that.
It's alive. Welcome to the show. What is the show called? Real Peaks. This is the Real Peaks show, baby.
Sounds good.
Yeah, this is a Bluray show and tell show that really gives me an excuse to hang out with a bunch of awesome film people so we can talk about stuff that we love, as well as sorry, I just don't have the right words tonight. No, welcome to the show. This is our 3rd edition of our Roundtable show and tell, where we pick something from our collection and talk about it, and launches us into conversation. And we have a new game we're going to try. I mean, it's going to be very organic. We'll see how it goes. But if a new game that kind of happened naturally last week, I thought it was really fun. So we'll try that again instead of doing your standard. What did you watch? Well, I watched this and I watched that. We can do a little bit of that too. But before we do, let's do the thing that we did last week, where let's go around. Everybody take a turn. Check in. Say hello. And tell us about what is going on in your side of the film world and what you are doing. So whoever wants to go, just go.
I'll jump out real fast because it won't take long, because I actually have 2 really big things going on right now, like huge things, and they're both super secret. So
okay.
Is
that it? That's it.
I mean, yeah, sorry.
Talk about vague tubing. Jesus Louises. All right. That's good. All right. We got Stephen out of the way. Who's next?
I'll go. I've just started my own podcast, actually. It's about to launch any day now. I've got a whole backlog of episodes. And I got the promo material. I got the voiceover for the intro, the outro. I got the theme song. I got a spiffy little podcast coming up. It's called the Real 96 Podcast, and it is a deep dive into the movies of 1996, 25 years later, kind of a post-mortem nostalgia deal. So, I just pick guests at random that want to talk about a specific movie or two, and each episode, and we just go for it. It's a free-form kind of discussion. Some of them get weird. Some of them get raunchy, but it's a good time. And I'm currently looking for more guests because there's like 215 movies to cover. So, and we only got about 10 episodes done. So anyone else who wants, I know Rakefet has already done one, and
it
Jeff
was
has done 2.
Amazing. If you haven't done it, you have to do it. It's just fantastic.
I love having you on. Absolutely.
I if I can call Muppet Treasure Island, I'll take it.
Yes, Tim, you are booked for Muppet Treasure Island.
Nice.
See, it's that easy. It's not really hard to get on.
I'll recite traveling.
I'll recite the script for Scream verbatim. If you want.
That qualifies you to join the big season finale for the show, which is Scream. So yes. If this goes well, we will do the Real 97, but we actually have to get people to listen to the show. Otherwise, I'm not doing it again.
We got to tag all the people that are in the movies of that year too, right? You got to find them on social media. And
absolutely. I'm going to try to get some random people from these movies on the show too. Here goes, fingers crossed. We'll see. I'm sure I'll get somebody. But
definitely could do that.
Absolutely. Besides that, Genre Blast is still going strong, taking submissions for Genre Blast. We're getting ready to do Grindsploitation Film Fest at the end of April at the Alamo Draft House, and that's what we're focusing on right now.
Excellent, sir. All that great report. Thank you for sharing, and I'm so excited to check out some episodes of that podcast and listen back to all the idiosyncrasies of Dunstan Checks In as well. That'll be a lot of fun.
Jeff Frumess and Bob Rose doing Dunstan Checks In was one of the best episodes so far. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I feel like, what's funny? It's like, yeah, everybody wants to go for all the great, like the real great movies, but I feel like it's the quirky, goofball movies that are probably going to yield some really great material. You know what I mean? Because it's just, so out there and
like I'm looking forward to stuff like The Arrival with Charlie Sheen or like Fled
Oh my
with Stephen Baldwin and Lawrence Fishburne. Like that's the kind of stuff I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to talking about.
Yeah.
Because everybody's already talked about Independence Day and Scream. Not
Right.
that they're not fun to do; those are going to be fun to do too. But I'm looking for more of the obscure stuff that probably younger people don't even know exist. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, like Bed of Roses.
Is that with Christian Slater? That's a Christian Slater.
Yeah.
Why did I just immediately see the poster?
Yeah,
pictured
because it's Mary Stuart Masterson.
Yeah, we talked about Bed of Roses and Two by Sea more than probably anyone has ever talked about this movie.
Wait a minute. Wasn't there a tie-in for the Bed of Roses movie where it was like 1-800-ROSES? You could order roses for like your significant other. Swear to God, I'm not making
There
that up.
wasn't. There should have been.
Swear to God, I'm not making up because I remember I bookmarked that in my mind specifically because I'm telling you, there was like a 1-800 Get Roses Now type tie-in promotion with that.
I believe you.
Sounds like an
Yes.
MTV thing.
Yes.
Probably.
Now they would come by Postmates. They'd be like Postmates promotion.
Right. Right.
Nathan, have you had anybody call 12 Monkeys?
That was 95.
What? No, it says 96.
It was limited release 95, and then it was release wide in 96.
Nathan
All right.
is a real stickler for this stuff. It
Well,
has to be.
Like, it was
Do you have
not.
is there what
I don't
list do you
count.
work
I don't
off?
count film festival release dates either. It has
Yeah.
to be released originally in that year, in 1996.
Strictly no
Domestic-
80s Billy
in
Joel.
the country of origin. Yes.
No 80s Billy Joel. We only do pre. What's that
Because-
quote from?
I had a couple of people want to do Hard Eight. Hard Eight is a 97 film technically. It played at Sundance in 96, but it was not released till 97. So I've had that conversation several times.
I wanted to do Reality Bites, but it was even before that. It was like 94, I think.
Yeah,
94. Yeah. I'm not going backwards.
All right, let's.
1995 was a hell of a year for movies, though.
It was very much. Okay, let's move on. Who is next? What is going on in somebody else's part of the world? Let's check in, please.
I'll go. I am working on a Boo feature script with Shane Michael Thompson. He's helping me with the story. We're co-writing the story, and I'm going to actually write. And we came up with some crazy stuff already. So if I can somehow pull it off, it's going to be good. And actually, Genre Blast, I think, is my earliest, like whatever your last deadline is, that's like when I have to get it done by then. So I'm like trying really, really hard.
You're going to shoot a whole movie by then?
No, that is not going to happen. I want to. That is
I was like,
definitely
oh, goody.
no. I want to submit the script, but
Okay, cool.
yeah, I wish I could shoot it by then. Well, yeah, yeah, but it got me off of writing my other script, which was going in circles, so that's good. And actually, somebody from a film festival that I met offered for me to audition for this lead in this feature that he's doing, and it sounds really, really, really cool. But it's a very dark film, and I'm still grappling with that if I think I can take myself there or not, or if I want to. But it was really nice to have somebody offer me something to do that was really cool to do. I just don't know if I can do it. But anyway, yeah, and I'm writing, and that's it, and nothing else is happening. I'm teaching Hebrew school, lots of Hebrew school.
Mazel tov.
You need more Hebrew school, Mr. Frumess.
Hey, אני לומד עברית באולפן.
למדת עברית באולפן, אבל אתה לא מדבר עברית עכשיו.
Yeah.
He's married to an Israeli.
You speak of the Hebrew better than me, so I can't even. I'm not even gonna.
No, yeah, yes, it's very. It's just good I learned that language, because if not, I wouldn't have a job right now. I don't know what I would be doing. So
you know what? Listen, we all got to do. I was just talking about this on my other show. I was actually lamenting. It was a year ago yesterday that I finished shooting the first.
Are they coming to get you? What is that?
Who was that? That wasn't me.
Wasn't me.
Behind you.
Oh, it was you. It was Brian. Are you okay?
It wasn't me, I don't think.
All right.
What are you guys?
If there's any ghosts, are you like staying in 1408 or something?
Someone by highway or something. It sounded like a tractor trailer.
I thought the cops were coming for you by helicopter and your lights were going off, and I wasn't sure what was happening. Sorry, I did not mean to interrupt you. I apologize.
It's okay. I was just saying that it was literally a year ago yesterday that I finished the first block of my second feature-length film. I shot 20% of the movie, and then COVID hit, and the movie is sadly, as of right now, for probably forevermore, is no more. And
forevermore.
Yeah, forever.
Wait, Wash Away is never going to happen?
I don't think it's ever going to happen for a bunch of reasons. I might have talked about this a little bit. Right after that, my lead actress got pregnant, who I'm very happy for her. She just had a baby, wonderful, many mazel tovs. But it's just the whole thing. A lot of stuff has changed. I don't know if I can make the film anymore. So I'm sort of stuck with 20% of a feature, and I don't really know. The footage is great. It's great footage. I just don't know what I'll do with it. I don't know if I'll be able to finish it, but it was quite melancholy because it was just like, damn, like it's not a good feeling, and you like start something and then you don't finish it. And it's like that ghost stuff. Like ghosts, they hang around with unfinished business. It's not fun.
Well, I'm sorry to hear about that.
Hey, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens in the future. So Tim, Brian, what's going on with you guys? Someone.
Well, my internet's acting up, so that's been a fun couple days.
Maybe you're just like jumping back and forth between two parties, like
no, nothing that exciting. I was up super late last night talking to customer service as they told me to do the same thing over and over again. Like, try resetting the modem. Okay. Did you do it? Yes. Oh, you shouldn't have done it yet. Oh, okay. Sounds good. Okay, I reset it. All right. Did you put a pin in it? What? Well, I unplugged it and plugged it back in. They're like, oh no. You need to put a pin in the reset button. Oh, I don't have a pin. Okay, do you have a paperclip? I don't own a paperclip. Fun fact, I don't. I mean, really, why would I? And then it was just this long pause as the technical support woman didn't actually know how to respond to me flat out telling her I didn't own a paperclip. That was awkward. And apparently they didn't really fix it. So yeah, it's worth it. Other than that, just I've been working on a romantic comedy screenplay. So that's going to be weird.
Wow.
Nice.
Oh, that's going to be weird. I mean, there's... some people don't live through it.
That sounds like the best kind of romantic comedy.
Yeah.
That's your shot to the top of my must-see list.
Yeah, it's weird because I've written a couple characters that are very patterned in their speech, and then everyone else just kind of talks like a normal person, and I'm just sick of them. I'm like, I don't like any. Like, there's one person. It's just like, hello, how is it? I'm going to enjoy this coffee. And I'm like, oh, I hate you. I'm definitely killing you off. And then it's like someone else is like, oh, I'm going to fill a page with a monologue where they like go on like this diatribe. Yeah. Oh yeah. This guy, I like this guy. So yeah, we'll see how it turns out. We'll see if anyone actually would want to watch it, but it's been fun to write. I'll be honest. I've had a lot of fun writing it.
Awesome.
And sometimes the journey is better than the destination. So you enjoy having fun no matter what becomes of it. Just enjoy. If you're having fun writing it, that's all that matters in the moment. So that's great, man. Phenomenal. And Brian, what about you, man? What do you got going on? What's cooking on the stove?
What's going on? I'm contemplating the vaccine, maybe possibly this weekend. I think I qualify. All those burgers and McDonald's apparently.
Yeah.
So I figured, well, why not? Yeah, I went on the website. I was like, shit, I do qualify. Okay, early. Let's see. So I have a short script actually in Grindsploitation. It's called Baked Good. Short little horror thing I wrote, and I'm a finalist in that, so I was really psyched about that. Thank you. And I'm also in a short film called Puss, directed by Leah Shore at South by Southwest next week. So she's been promoting that a lot. You may see that a lot on my page. Puss. I'm like, okay. It's a very funny, quirky comedy. I helped. I threw some money their way to help produce it and stuff like that. So it's a fun little project. And New York City Horror Film Festival is going strong right now. With we're open for submissions, films and scripts. We just learned we're a Rondo nominated best virtual event for last year. So that was really shocking. I heard about that like from a third party. I was like, I had no idea. I was just like eating a sandwich, and someone just said, "Hey, you're a Rondo nominated festival now." I was like, "Shit." So that's pretty cool. We're excited about that, and that's about it so far. Just keeping busy. I still work from home as well. Go into the office every once in a while, but it's nice to every once in a while take a time out and talk about film or watch a film or just catch up. There's just so much content. I've even had to comment that on Facebook. There's just so much content. Like I want to catch up to stuff, but I'm like doing festival stuff as well and trying to read books and scripts. But a lot of new stuff on all the different platforms. It's hard to catch up, but I'm trying. I'm trying to avoid all the spoilers and all that sort of stuff. It's hard. It's really hard, but it's a good problem to have considering where we were the last couple of years. But I won't get into that. But now it's like it seems like everything's calmer now. You can learn about science if you want to, and all that sort of good stuff that elevates our minds and our thinking process. So I'm happy where we are now.
I just want to say I was fortunate enough to have seen the movie Puss that Brian is talking about, and it was delightful. It was.
She sent me the script, and I was like, how can I help out? Some of my friends, some of my other cinephile friends were our producers on it. It was like, how can I help? I had, I hadn't spent on vacation or anything last year. I was like, how can I help? So,
yeah,
and I'm always looking to do that in some way for films that are out there and Indigo. I'm always looking at the producer tier and that sort of thing, just to help, not even to be a creative part of it, just to, help out somehow. So let me know.
Cool. Very, very cool. Mazel tov. And Mazel tov on being, man, that's awesome to be Rondo nominated. When those Rondos come around, everybody gets a little drooly and whatnot. So that's fun, man.
I mean, I think we're just happy to be, it sounds like a cliche, but it really is an honor to be nominated because it's just such good company to be in. And again, every year, like Fango, Chainsaw Awards, and Rondo, I'm such a nut for like all this content that I just like I go through the list. I'm like, I gotta watch everything that's on the list so I can catch up and know what I'm nominated, know what I'm voting for and all that sort of stuff. It's a fun project to do every year. I never catch up, but it's fun to try.
I think you keyed in on something that's really, really profound and relevant. You said it's awesome to be in so much good company. I feel like that is like the best attitude one should approach any of that sort of stuff with, just to be stoked to be amongst good company and to take that as that is its own reward in and of itself, besides maybe going to the next level and winning something. So that's really cool, man. That's awesome. All right, let's move on now to our main segment as we wing this thing. We're gonna go around, do our show and tell, and talk about our pick, and it's a surprise. And that's my favorite part, is not knowing what everybody has waiting in the wings. And in my case, and as I guess I'm not the only one, I have two picks, and however my mood is going to strike me, I'm ready to talk about both of them, but however my mood is going to strike me, I will pick one over the other. So leaving it all to chance. So once again, let the spirit of the room dictate who is going to.
You don't want to call on somebody?
First. No, just go for it. Just go for it. Anybody, go ahead. I don't care.
I'll go first this time. I don't think I've gone first yet. So,
great.
In the spirit of Worst Laid Plans, which is the anthology that myself and a crew of awesome people are working on, I'm producing with 5 awesome directors. Horror anthology based on the book Worst Laid Plans. I picked an anthology, one of my favorite anthologies, and it's a really cool set. It is VHS 2, and this is the VHS Bluray pack. So it comes in a really cool box right there. You got the always awesome VHS, which I have watched on VHS. I do watch the VHSs, and this has just got a really nice embossed cover on it. I really like the feel of it. And this is like an all-star lineup of directors for this anthology. You have Jason Eisner, Adam Wingard, Simon Barrett directed the wraparound, Ed Sanchez. You have one of the Moe brothers directing with Gareth Evans, that short is ridiculously awesome. The one where they go into the cult.
Love it.
Holy shit. That's one of the best short films ever made.
So good.
I love all three of the VHS movies. I know the third one gets a bad rap and a lot of people hate it, but I loved all three of the VHS movies. I thought they were all fun. But this is clearly the best one out of all of them. So it's got making of featurettes for pretty much all the shorts on the special features. And it has a commentary, which is pretty entertaining too. They're all pretty affable. So I think you can still pick this set up on Amazon and eBay if you really want it. It's not too expensive. It's not like rare or out of print or anything. It's just a really cool set, and I like having it. So that's kind of my deal. I went first, so I broke the ice. If anyone has any questions, I'm sure everybody has seen VHS 2 by now. It's not a rare film, but it was a lot of fun to revisit this one recently, kind of pump myself up for the Worst Laid Plans anthology, watching some anthologies. So, yeah.
We'll do
I enjoyed
crosstalk
the first
afterwards. We'll do crosstalk afterwards, and we can talk about everybody's releases if whatnot.
Cool.
We'll go around in the meantime. We lost Tim again because of his Wi-Fi. I'm sure he'll be back.
He's looking for a paperclip.
He's holding up his phone right now, just looking for a signal. Poor Tim. Poor Tim.
Should I go or?
Yeah.
Yeah, you go.
All right. I'm not like a Criterion purist, but I buy like the films that I like that are a Criterion. I don't think I talked about this one before, but it's one of the first purchases that I bought. And it's Clute with Jane Fonda, Donald Sutherland. It kind of fits in the whole genre talk because it actually was featured in Terror in the Isles, the old 80s documentary about the horror films, and it had slashers, and it was just I think most of the films in my collection are from that documentary. Basically, I have pretty much all of them. And Clute is just, when I finally caught up to it, I mean, I've been a Jane Fonda fan, but as I've gotten older, I've appreciated her even more. And this was her Oscar-winning performance. She really just captivates when she's on the screen. And, politics aside, her activism is, I think she's just very outspoken. I think it's very easy for people to sort of shun her and for the rest of her life, but she's apologized and all that sort of stuff. And there are a couple of documentaries on here that address all the things that were going on in her life at that time, and it's just made me respect her even more. And she just got the Golden Globe, the Cecil B. DeMille Award, and all that sort of stuff. I think she's one of those elders that we got to like really pay attention to and listen to, because she shoots from the hip, tells it like it is. She's outspoken, and it's just very quick for people to say, "Oh, shut her up" or whatever. But while we have her, like, listen to her, and it's just a great performance, some great features. Like I said, there's some really great documentaries on here that aren't on YouTube, so I couldn't just post them, because it really just gives you a glimpse into who she is as a person, and why I think she just earns so much respect. So it's just one of those films that I just love watching, specifically for a performance. I don't even know why. It was for years. I was like, why is it called Clute? Her name's Brie Daniels in the movie. I was like, I always thought her name was Clute. It's Donald Sutherland's character. I'm like, okay, he's kind of like, he's okay, he's there, but it's really her movie. It's really, she shines in that role. So that was my pick.
Man, I hope I look at that good when I'm 80 years old. Like, jeez, Louise.
Unbelievable.
I hope I look that good at any years old.
Yeah.
True that.
No, great movie though. I love Clute. Yeah.
Oh, and it's one of the things that I really appreciate about it. It's got this sort of giallo feel to it. Like, I really appreciated it even more so now as an adult. Back then, I was just like, okay, I'll just check it out, and it was what it was. But really watching it again for just it's Alan J. Pakula directed, who later went to the Pelican Brief, another one of my favorite films. But it's got has this sort of giallo feel to it. Hey, Tim's back. I'm talking about Clute.
Whoa! I literally ripped things out of the wall to plug into my computer, and now I'm sitting on the floor.
Oh no!
So
you're like changing rooms every time you see it.
It's fun. It's exciting. I'm mixing it up for y'all.
But I appreciate the sort of giallo feel to it. It's like an American giallo to it, even down to like the music. It's got like this sort of soft, like, lullaby music to it. That's very creepy. When I revisited it, I was like, I had no idea that this film went that hard with it. But and it's got some really interesting, scary, suspenseful moments. But yeah, I put it in that it's in that 70s feel, but it has that sort of bird with the crystal plumage, sort of dress to kill vibe, you know, and just a great performance by Jane Fonda. I can't say enough about her. I'll shut up now.
Check that out. Never heard of it or seen it.
Oh yeah, check it out. Check it out. Definitely.
I gotta check it out. Yeah.
Just her performances alone, her scenes are just like watch this and then watch 9 to 5, and it's like apples and oranges. It's like,
I love
amazing.
9 to 5.
9 to 5 is great. Yeah.
So good.
Anything with Dabney Coleman is good with me.
You see Modern Problems, I'm guessing, right? Chevy Chase. I don't know why his speech pops into my head every once in a while. I'm not a freak. He's a freak. I'm a good-looking man.
You guys, I'm doing Modern Problems on my podcast in very soon this month.
No way, really?
Yeah, with Jeremy Herbert's going to be on talking about Modern Problems. So this
I don't know why
my first watch actually.
That
Oh,
sounds
man, that movie-
fantastic.
That movie, I think, was on the back of like in the 80s. I had like The Toxic Avenger, and for some reason taped off of Channel 5, Modern Problems. And I used to just watch those back and forth, like over and over and over. So I have that movie, like sort of. I just every once in a while, dialogue from Modern Problems would just pop in my head. It's
Interesting
so
contrast
strange.
there.
I haven't actually seen it yet, but Jeremy is Jeremy is a Chevy Chase scholar. Like the guy should be writing a biography. Yeah, we went up talking for about 3 hours on our pre-watch discussion.
Wow.
So it's gonna be a good one. He knows a lot more about Chevy Chase and comedy, like as a field of like intellectual study, you know, than certainly than I do.
There's like a 10-minute video I ran across today about why Chevy Chase is like the most hated man in entertainment. I only got like 2 minutes in because I was just like, this is terrible. It's just like, I don't need the whole story. So, but it's floating around out there. Just find it. But yeah, I was like surprised that they even did that. Like 10 minutes of this. Like, come on.
He had there was a
have
roast.
a good reputation.
There was a roast. There was a roast on Comedy Central for Chevy Chase, and it was embarrassing because nobody that he worked with showed up to the roast to roast him. Like Bill Murray didn't show up. Like all these people
don't like him because he's apparently not a cool person. Like
he doesn't have a good rap.
Yeah,
he doesn't have a good rap. That's what I've heard.
Which sucks because he's like a genius, but
he lives right around here.
Eddie Murphy and I did not have a good interaction either. So don't meet your heroes is really the
wow.
You know,
except for Bill Murray.
I have not met him, but he's also got a reputation, not for being maybe difficult, but like actually for being hard to find in the casting world. Like to contact him is very difficult. Like he has like one lawyer, I think, and no, but like it's like you can't find him. It's like the whole. It's like, I don't know.
He'll find you.
He will find you if he wants to.
I have a really good Bill Murray story, super quick. My brother used to work as a caddy at a golf club right around here where we live. And my brother was just standing by the caddy shack, literally the shack of the caddies, which was also very close. It was near the roundabout where the cars pull up. And so my brother's just standing there, and Bill Murray just like walks up waiting for his car, just standing next to my brother, they don't say a word to each other. My brother recognizes he's Bill Murray, but doesn't really care much, I guess, because it's my way. My brother is actually kind of admire that about my brother. And Bill Murray just turns to him and just goes, he's like, I was thinking about doing a video for you guys. And my brother's like, what? He's like, you're a caddy, right? Caddies, I'm going to do a caddying golf video because, Bill Murray's a golfer, big golfer. Everybody knows this. My brother just like looks at him like he has like 20 eyes in his head and is just like, okay. And he goes, I'm Bill Murray. He's like, brother's like, my brother is just totally just pulling on his chain. And he goes, Caddyshack, like he thought my brother would register that he was talking about making an instructional caddy video because he's the star of Caddyshack. And my brother just like had a blank face on it. And then Bill Murray goes, Ghostbusters. And my brother goes, and then he goes, Lost in Translation. And my brother goes, you were in a movie with Scarlett Johansson? That's awesome. And
that was like Bill Murray's worst day of his life.
And Bill Murray took it in stride. And my brother said, I'm just kidding, Bill Murray. I know who you are. And I'm a big fan. And that was basically the end of it. But I just always truly admired my brother that he had the ability to pull off. It takes a certain tact to pull a gag like that, especially from someone who's famous. So I thought I love telling that story. Was all.
Luckily, it wasn't Chevy Chase. He would have gotten punched in the face, probably.
I think that checks out. That sounds right.
It does.
Okay, who is next?
Tim, you're back on. Oh, sorry.
Okay, you know what?
No.
You should go while you have internet.
I know. I like that. I think I solved the problem, but at the end of the day, I probably didn't. I feel like for any kind of like video or meeting or podcast, like everyone now is just going to get me like cross-legged on the floor as far as the stupid internet cable goes, and be like, yeah, no, this is where I normally do this. I'm very comfortable sitting here. On the ground. It's great. It sounds good. Okay, so I kind of vaguely cheated in terms of I grabbed something that was not one movie, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But I like this. I like a nice. I'll be honest. I like a nice box set. And Jeff, I know how you feel about Arrow things. And Arrow puts together a nice box set.
They do.
I know.
The best.
Oh no.
Oh no.
He's in the negative zone. He's in the negative zone.
We'll never know.
Oh, I'm so curious. What 8 movies?
I was going to suggest you just quickly do it before you whatever.
Rakefet, your turn.
Okay. So I went to BU and I was a film major, but I was a women's studies minor, and I made my own independent study that was basically like a women in film minor because they didn't really offer anything like that. So because of that, I was exposed to all sorts of really random movies about women because I was doing like mother-daughter relationships, sister relationships, friend relationships, lesbian relationships, whatever. Anyway, that's how I somehow found the best movie ever, the erotic classic of forbidden love, Therese and Isabel. Radley Metzger's Therese and Isabel. If you haven't seen it and you like old lesbian movies, this is a really good old lesbian movie. And it's about 2 schoolgirls in the French countryside who find each other in this place that they're unhappy, and they are having this sinful relationship, and it basically the whole movie is just leading up to them sleeping together. And it's and now I'm looking at it. I honestly haven't seen it in years. I used to watch it a lot. Like I used to watch it all the time because I just couldn't believe that a movie that was made in I think it's in the 60s, even had whatever it is I was watching. I just was like, I couldn't like fathom that there were like lesbians in the 60s, like in the French countryside. I don't know. I love this movie, and I used to know it like by heart. I even could do like some of the French parts, and it was just like a really good movie. And but now I'm looking at it, and it's quite offensive now that I'm an older, not college student trying to explore her sexuality. And it's very like from the male gaze, for the male gaze. Like there's no women are not being treated like real people in this. It's obviously a fantasy. And both girls are just like drop dead gorgeous. It's Anna Gael, who I think is actually somewhat famous actress in France, and Essie Person are the 2 leads. But anyway, it says on the back, Radley Metzger said, quote, early on, I felt that the love of one girl for another was a fertile field for erotic cinematic exploration. And that is like the nicest, most beautiful way of saying I want to shoot lesbian porn. Like, I don't know. So, and it was quite, I mean, I remember it being really graphic. I don't remember if I watched it now, I might consider it to be like Disney graphic. But at the time, I was like, what? How? And this, like, I just had never seen anything like it in my life. So it will always be it definitely got me interested in girls. And then I married one like 2 years later. And then we got divorced 13 years later. But anyway, that's another story. But it's a good movie.
Was she French?
She was not French.
Oh, okay.
And she wasn't Jewish either. My mom was like, what's her name? And I'm like, Mary. That's really not true. But anyway.
Oh, man. Israeli Jewish mothers, man.
I think they would have been okay if she had been Jewish first, you know, but like they got over it. She ended up being more Jewish than me, honestly. She like took it on way more than I ever wanted to. And she's like, we have to light candles. It's Friday night. And I was like, okay.
You know, that happens a lot, actually. I've noticed that. Like, I've noticed that like there are a lot of like either adopters of faiths or conversions to faiths that tend to be more strict with the faith because they made it such an effort to transform themselves in
and also it's people like she didn't have anything like it wasn't taking the place of anything. She wasn't like a devout Catholic and then she met me or like something. She was Episcopalian. They went to church when someone died and when someone got married, and like that was it. That was when so for her it was like, oh, we get to do all these cool things and there's holidays and there's rituals and things that I guess she had to me seemed very boring and just regular, and to her was very like new and exciting. And I appreciate that she did that. But yeah, we had a Jewish wedding. We both broke the glass. It was awesome.
Hey now. But
I think Radley Metzger has a few movies like this. I don't think this is his only one. I love it. It's so good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, but that's like, and you know, you're like, oh, I don't really belong here, blah, blah, blah. But like, that's what you bring to the table. I think that's super awesome because
the lesbian feminist.
Yeah, man. Like, that's great. I like that. That's awesome. You know?
All right.
Like,
but just to be clear, I'm bisexual. I don't want I'm dating right now, and I don't want to give anybody the wrong idea. Don't
worry. Everybody who watches this video is now they're fully aware.
They're fully informed. Thank you.
Everybody's been fully informed. That's great. That's great. All right, listen, before we go to the crosstalk, I've decided. Wait, Tim.
I want to know what they ate.
I forgot. Tim, you go first. Go, Tim.
Okay, so I wanted to, yeah, I probably should.
I was just thinking I was going to reference Tim about the box set, and I was like, wait, Tim didn't tell us about the box set. So go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. So I picked the non-complete works of
you can
Tsukamoto.
see it. It's right behind my head right there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I love this. It has so many classics, including, of course, Tetsuro 2. It's not a complete works. Like, there's definitely some stuff missing. And some of which I'd be like, put out a second volume, please. But it does include some of his short films, including The Adventure of Denshi Kozo, which is a bonkers delight. And I will be honest, I met him once, very briefly. I was in Japan. It was his, and there was a theater screening his remake of Fire on the Plain. It was two things. First of all, I don't speak Japanese at all. I relied very much on the kindness of my friends to be like, what's happening? Tell me what's going on. What should I say to this waiter? Like, really, I'm very bad at languages. Luckily, my friend is very good at languages. But yeah, I watched the entire movie without subtitles, went, yep, war seems bad. Other than that, didn't get a ton out of it. I mean, it's super well made. And then, yeah, he showed up and was, answering questions. And then, if you filed outside of this weird little theater outside of Tokyo, you could meet him and shake his hand. And I did. And with this expression on my face. and said like nothing, functionally nothing, because he doesn't really speak English and I don't speak Japanese. But I did see him and was nearby, so that was cool. But yeah, no, these are all. If you have not seen all of these films, they are all just weird bananas delights. I mean, like kind of in a similar kind of vein as like Cronenberg did. He gets, as his films go on, they're less gooey. I don't know, like, but they're no less
get less gooey.
Well, the first like handful of film, if you go in this setup, especially from Tetsuo 2, Tokyo Fist, and Bullet Ballet, I mean, it's this very kind of almost sort of cyberpunky era of like this visceral violence, which is, I mean, Tokyo Fist is an amazing boxing. I mean, yeah, it's a boxing movie, but the way it conveys, I don't want to say action, because he's not someone who really like they're fascinating films because they're not about like action in like an exciting, fun way, but instead in this really like viscerally unpleasant way. Like Tokyo Fist is, about maleness and violence in a really horrible way, and it's great. Like I don't want to call it a delight. I mean, he makes a lot of feel bad movies, but it's a good time. I don't know if you like that kind of thing. I mean, Nathan, I know you're into it, but
he makes you feel untrustworthy of humanity.
Yes,
and it feels good because he's such a good filmmaker that like you're along for the ride, even though you're like, wow, this is like, I'm feeling real dark right now.
Yeah,
like A Snake of June might be my favorite of his movie, and I mean I can't even describe the film because you'll be like, what is it about? So you just need to watch it because it's probably in my top 10 Japanese films of all time.
Oh, it's great. I also, the degree to which he puts himself in his movies is really extensive in terms of how often it's just like, and starring him, which is always why it's weird when I see him pop up elsewhere. Like, again, having him just like randomly pop up in Shin Godzilla, it's just, oh, you're here too? Oh, all right. Sounds good. You're just some scientist and government guy. All right. Checks out. Is someone going to morph into something? No? Okay. Yeah, it's, but yeah, these are all delightful films. I mean, again, delightful in the sense that honestly, they'd all play well at Genre Blast. A number of them would probably play well at Sick and Wrong, but they wouldn't play great at my mom's not going to watch it. I'll say that.
It feels like you're tapping directly into somebody else's mind. Like there's no studio interference. There's none of that because it's just him. Oh, so if you want to trip into Tsukamoto's mind, you just watch these films and you'll know exactly what he's about.
Yeah, it's it's one of the things that when I think we talked a little bit about Psycho Gorman last time we met, it's very much a movie in a similar vein along the lines of this is the movie they set out to make. Yep. And for good or ill, this is the movie that they set out to make. And Rakefet, I think the movie you were describing is also very much probably the movie that it sounds like it's the movie the filmmaker set out to make. It's like, no one messed around with this. This is what I wanted to make. And for good or bad, that's it. And I always appreciate that swing when it when you kind of get the feeling it's like, oh, this is exactly what you set out to do. And sometimes my reaction to that is like, oh, I did not care for that, but hey, you did it.
You did.
Good job.
And there's room for at least one more box set of his films, probably two more box sets.
Yeah. Like his Edogawa Rampo doppelganger movies, not part of it.
Tetsuo 3. I think somebody else has the rights to Tetsuo 3.
Yeah, it was on Hulu for a while. Yeah. Like I don't know if it still is.
There is a lot of stuff out there for me to, just when I think that I've really enmeshed myself, there's just, you're just always scratching the surface. You guys have literally just traded so many titles that I have just the only thing I've seen is Tetsuo, whatever, the Iron Man That's it. Which I watched my first film this year. I got to dive into this stuff too.
Yes, you should.
For real. What do you recommend if I was to watch? Should I finish the Iron Man trilogy and then go into something else? That was kind of my.
You don't need to. I mean, there's no. They're really more. I don't know if I'd worded I'd worded a trilogy in the same way that like the, Sympathy Vengeance trilogy is a trilogy. They're like variations on a theme.
Yeah.
That was a very good descriptor for what you were trying to communicate.
Yeah. I mean, it's remixes almost, as opposed to, it's not like a continued story really. It's, how can we play around with this?
Thematic trilogy. That is what the trilogy is, a thematic trilogy. So there you go.
They're fun. I would honestly recommend any of his films, and there's really no order. It's like, what do you feel like? Do you want something that's more psychological? Do you want a thriller? Do you want something that's just gonna make you real sad? Like Bullet Ballet bummed me the hell out. Like, damn. But it is a really it's gorgeous, and it's like weird high contrast black and white, and
my favorite.
Yeah. Well, yeah, then definitely check that one out, even though it will probably bum you out.
It's okay. I'm ready.
Nothing wrong with that.
That's why my Dancer in the Dark DVD has not been taken out of the set. I still have it from the day I bought it unopened, because I was like, I have to have this movie because it's so good. And I saw it at Cannes, and it was like a big deal to me. And I can't find it, or it would have been my pick. But like, it makes you feel so bad that I cannot bring myself to like watch it again.
Isn't it interesting how movies are like that, in the same way, like it's just like a song. Like I have to be in the right mindset to take in this art, because it's gonna hit me in a way that's gonna hurt possibly or brutalize me, and I just have to be in the right like mindset in order to do it,
Yeah, either feeling really good so it doesn't really bother you and bring you down, or feeling so bad that you don't give a shit how much further you have to fall. You know what I mean? Like, it's one or the other. Like, I don't know.
It's like an Inarritu film.
Would you say, Nathan?
It's like Amores Perros, or what's that one with Javier Bardem? Beautiful.
Great movie.
Man, those movies are so depressing. It's like,
but it's good.
You kind of crave it though. It's like almost like a drug sometimes. You want to watch something that makes you feel really terrible. I guess it makes you feel better about your own life.
Brutalize me.
I'd throw Ragcatcher in there if anybody hasn't seen that. If anybody's into movies that make you feel bad, Ratcatcher is a delight.
Yeah,
I mean, an anti-delight.
Real quick, Stephen, you have to go as well.
Yeah, I have to. Ratcatcher is a movie. It's Lynn Ramsey's first feature, I think, and it's about a kid living through a garbage strike in Ireland in the 1970s. It's fucking grim. It is really grim, and it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. I mean, Lynn Ramsey's amazing. Everything she's done has been incredible, but. Ratcatcher was her first, and of course, I think it was her first. It was certainly the first movie of hers I saw, and it's just, wow, man, you need some time, like, just to kind of lie on a couch with a blanket on and maybe hold a cat or something like that after you watch that movie. But it's good. It's really, really good.
Wow. Okay. All right. Put that down on the list as well. Steve, what do you got for us?
So I picked the Blu-ray is it's. I have to confess, it's a director's cut of a movie that I've seen. I have not seen the director's cut yet, but I am so in love with the Blu-ray. It was one of those things, like my mom asks for Christmas lists every year, and it was the only thing I threw on my Christmas list because I never really expect her to buy those things, because she usually just gets other weird things than the stuff that I asked for. Anyway, whatever. But so it wound up showing up here on Christmas, and I was like, oh my God. And I know it's a contentious pick. I know it's creates a lot of strong feelings, but I got.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen a director's cut yet.
This was a limited edition by A24. I think it cost like my mom $50 or something like that to get. But she got this. It's you can't tell because my laptop camera's not great, but it's like this. I don't know. It's a really like fabric case or something. Anyway, the artwork, of course, on the outside is gorgeous, but then you open this thing up and it's fucking beautiful, man. Look at this thing. It's got like,
oh my God,
it's got this booklet that is incredible. It's got all this art from the movie. Like,
wow. I wish we could go full screen.
Yeah,
for this
I should have plugged in a different camera or something. But look at this, man. This is incredible.
Wow.
So, I mean, you could just sit there and like I said, I haven't watched the director's cut yet. It's like, I don't know, 3.5 hours long or so. Oh, and of course, spoiler alert. Kind of.
Yep. Burning Bear. Hold on real quick. I just want to shout out Dagger Love. Dagger Love, thank you for the tip. He says, I don't get it. When are you going to talk about the Misfits? Dagger has been joining me for my Misfits podcast nerd show that I do. Dagger, you unfortunately stumbled upon the wrong type of nerd show. Tonight we are nerding out about Blu-rays, so stick around if you want to get some good recommendations like Midsummer and the variety of other films we've been speaking of. So yeah, I just want to give a shout out and a salute to Dagger Love. Thank you for the support, man. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for hanging out with us, Dagger Love, even though this has been a very low Misfits.
Super nerd. Almost zero. Literally saying the word Misfits is the amount of Misfits.
That's the amount of Misfit talk we've had.
Hold on, I just got to give him one whoa since he left a comment. Whoa! That's it. That's all there is. That's all we get.
Fantastic.
No, but that set is gorgeous. I almost pulled the trigger myself, and I just could not. I just couldn't justify. I just didn't need all the frills. I just wanted the director's cut, and I didn't love the movie enough to drop the coin on that set. That's the beautiful thing.
You should have gotten my mom to buy you one.
Yeah, that's what should have your mom. No, but that's what I mean. Like, it's just like socks, man. Like, you don't want to buy socks. Someone buys you socks. It's the same thing with Midsommar director's cut. I just want someone to get it for me. I rather spend my money on other stuff. But especially when it was already streaming on Prime. And I was like, do I really need to watch? Because I was waiting. I've been wanting to rewatch it. And I'm just like, I'm like, man, if you're going to rewatch it, rewatch the director's cut. It's not one of those films where I feel like I can watch it over and over and over again. There are those films
when it's over 3.5 hours long for the director's cut.
Yes. Paul, can you just hold up your set for Paul Seacrest? Is another one of my friends that joins me for my shows. How you doing tonight, Paul? Paul would like to see the Midsommar box set real quick.
I wanted to immortalize your words there, Jeff.
There you go.
Okay, so I'm trying. My camera's not flipping, so
that's okay.
Organize
open her up for us.
Let's get this guy back out.
Oh yeah,
look at that cover. Look at that beautiful cover, and the bear on the back. It is it's like a chapbook or something. And then the spine's all pretty.
Yep.
And even the part where the disc sits is like the flower mound,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh man,
that's really nice.
This is beautiful. And then there's like words and stuff. There's the little pants, the skin pants.
Yeah. Yeah, look at the twig and berries there. Wow. I just want to tag along on the back of Steven's pick, because if you like Midsommar, if you like Wicker Man, you have to check out The Wicker Tree, the little known sequel to The Wicker Man, also directed by Robin Hardy. It came out. It was based on his novel called Cowboys for Christ. It came out in 2011. It does have Christopher Lee in it as well. And in my opinion, out of the Wicker Man remake with Nicolas Cage, the original Wicker Man, and the Wicker Tree, I think the Wicker Tree is the best one of all. It has a scene that is super terrifying. I don't even want to tell you what it is. Paul says it looks awesome. The film is on his watch list. There's a scene in the Wicker Tree that is, to me, it's my worst nightmare. It's my worst nightmare. And it shares a lot of DNA with Midsommar. I almost felt like as I was watching Midsommar, which I thoroughly enjoyed, I was like, man, this is so much like Wicker Tree. I wonder where the buck stopped with that one. But in any case, it's all good stuff. You don't get too much pagan horror these days. You get some, but you know, it ain't no Halloween or Jason or Freddy, you know, every 5 years. So there's that. All right, I'm gonna go real quick, and I've decided on my pick. Tim influenced me because he said box set, and suddenly I just got all hot and bothered, and I decided.
You heard me say more than just box set, right? Because again, my internet's been spotty. I just want to make sure that
we're still waiting. What was it Police Academy or something?
Yeah, Mission of Moscow. No,
that was my first guess. Was Police Academy also?
Yeah, that would have been good. Arrow release of Police Academy. That would. Oh my lord, that would have been something else. No, my pick is the Universal Monsters 8 original. Essential classic, whatever you want to call it. Nice. This is a very special set to me because I had never seen these films in their entirety until I bought this box set. I bought this box set specifically so I could educate myself on the classics, which we all grew up in. We grow up with the classics, right? We know what they are in some way, shape, or form. But have you ever actually sat down and watched them all the way through? Probably. I hadn't. And so I wanted to take the time. And this set is just really, this is the UK Region 0 version, but there's other versions. And I bought this set for $18 on Amazon. You cannot beat that. They were 4K remasters of all the films. They just look pristine. It comes with, you know, like I said, it's Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, Dracula, The Mummy, The Wolfman, Phantom of the Opera, and Jesus, what's the last one? The Invisible Man, I think I said. Oh, and The Creature from the Black Lagoon. So you get all these films, and you know the Dracula comes with both versions of Dracula. When Todd Browning was directing Dracula, he was sharing the sets with the Spanish director who was directing the Spanish version of Dracula, because at the time in 1932. They didn't simply realize that they could just do a dub. There was no dubbing technology or whatever. So it's like, if you want to do the Spanish version for the Spanish market, you literally had to cast Spanish actors and you had to shoot the Spanish version. So they share the same sets. And supposedly, I haven't watched it yet. The Spanish Dracula is supposed to be superior to the classic, iconic Todd Browning Bela Lugosi Dracula movie. But what's funny is, you know, I watched this film and I was like, this is it's oozing with atmosphere. All these films are gorgeous. They're all gorgeous to look at. But you're watching it and you're just going, Jesus Christ, is this anticlimactic? You don't even see him die. Just spoilers on an 80 something year old movie. He gets snaked off screen. Yeah. What the fuck? Go ahead, Brian. What were we going to say?
No, I was agreeing with you. I want to see the Spanish version. I've heard it's very good.
Can you get the English dubbed Spanish version now?
Right?
Somewhere? Like, does that exist?
You know what? I guarantee you, some executive who works at Universal, who's in charge of that stuff, they were like, but we already have the. It's like, no, dub it anyway. Dub it anyway. Want to cover all the bases, you know, like make sure. And then here's the thing. Just to finish this, it comes with lobby cards. So you get these 8 gorgeous, glossy lobby cards. And here's the problem with my lobby cards, right? You get the lobby cards, but they're little fucking lobby cards. You can't frame them. You can't do anything with them. What am I supposed to do with these things? It's just, you know, I tried to.
You can frame them. You can frame anything.
Yeah, it's true. You can frame anything.
And you can do 4 on each or something. It's a horror starter pack. I love it. And you can have a horror lobby starter pack.
You totally called me on my bullshit. You're like, of course you can frame that.
You can't frame it. Like, if it was maybe this small, maybe you could have.
You know what? Let me clarify. I can't frame it with the resources I have in my house without traveling to a framing store.
Okay, that makes so much more sense. DVS makes like 5x7 frames that you can pick up.
It does. It does. It comes with a booklet full of. You got your booklet full of stuff. What's up, Kat?
What's Kitty
demanding my attention? I am.
That's okay. He can join us for the show. You got your pick too, Kitty. He's probably going to pick Sleepwalkers. So you get this booklet, and then here's the last thing. This is the coolest part. So then the set pulls out, right? And it's got documentaries up the wazoo. You can really educate yourself on the Universal classics. And that's what I did. I watched all the documentaries, I watched all the films. And, I didn't get a chance to for Halloween, but for the kiddies next year in my neighborhood, I would love to project these on the wall when we do a whole thing. The box set pulls out. You pull out the box and it's got this, panorama mamma jamma on the back. And it's just a great mother effing set for, like I said, $18. You cannot beat. When people say, ask me to recommend them, like, oh, what should I get? I got money burning a hole. I'm like, always pick out this set. This is a set that deserves a place in your collection, especially if you haven't seen the classics. So that is my pick.
Jeff,
I have to keep moving my head out from behind the StreamYard logo. Sorry.
I was just going to say, Jeff, as since these were kind of, this was you getting into them, was any one of them particularly surprising to you, other than the anticlimax of Dracula, which is true?
They were okay. Well, The Mummy, which is widely considered to be super boring, I loved The Mummy, like absolutely loved it, like the whole thing. And The Mummy, we've talked about several times, the Somers version, the 1999 Mummy, actually is kind of a faithful remake in a little bit. Like it takes a lot of the DNA from that original Mummy movie and puts it in that. So that was really good. The Invisible Man, the effects from the Invisible Man blew me away. You watch what they did, what they accomplished, and they used black velvet mats to do this or something, to make this guy disappear in 1930, whatever it was, maybe 33. That was also a James Whale film. He did Frankenstein. It is like your jaw drops. And the Invisible Man, he is a motherfucker. Like he's just a cackling motherfucker in this movie. And it's just, man, it was just great. I was thoroughly entertained for all the films. The Werewolf is another one of those films that, once again, kind of anticlimactic and kind of like you don't even see him change the first time. It just cuts to this beautiful set with like fog on the ground, and there's the Wolfman. Like you don't even see him change into the Wolfman the first time. Eventually you do. But that's what's interesting about these films is like, it's like all these moments that you think are like, a part of these films, they're like not even there. Like when you actually sit and watch the films, but they're still glorious, man. They're Bride of Frankenstein. They're all of them. They are all masterpieces. I'd say probably another one that's super interesting is Phantom of the Opera. This is the remake. The original Phantom of the Opera is the silent one from 1925 starring Lon Chaney. And then they added the whole thing where you steal the Phantom's music and yada, 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 which eventually got worked into Brian De Palma's Phantom of the Paradise, one of my all-time favorite films. That wasn't in the original Phantom of the Opera, though, from 1925, which I learned. I did not know that. So that is my pick. And
you mentioned James Whale and you mentioned the Stephen Sommers Mummy, and that's enough reason for me to mention Gods and Monsters. Did you see anybody see Gods and Monsters
with Brendan Fraser?
With Brendan Fraser and Ian McKellen. Yeah, that was incredible. That was good.
Yeah, that was a very good movie. I remember that, and I rarely remember movies.
Did he win an Academy Award for that, Ian McKellen, or was he nominated?
Oh, I don't know.
I think it was nominated for a few things. I remember that. That's probably why I even went to see it. Because they were like, I think it was.
That'd make a great double feature with Shadow of the Vampire.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Wow. Yeah.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yes. I just like to say one thing about that. Again, people, we always talk about, or I always revel in Nicolas Cage and how awesome Nicolas Cage is. Little known fact about Shadow of the Vampire, that is produced. That movie exists because of Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage is
about that.
Yeah. Nicolas Cage was the producer of Shadow of the Vampire. He brought that to the screen, and so you could not you guys, but I'm saying people can write off Nicolas Cage and joke all they want about him. That dude is a serious lover of film and knows his stuff. He knows like the silent era. As a matter of fact, his style of Western kabuki acting it completely comes from German expressionist cinema. So he's actually legitimately in his mind trying to emulate silent film stars when he acts over the top. So you see it, we all laugh and go, "Oh, it's the Rage Cage," which I love too, of course. Who doesn't love that? But he is legitimately trying to channel a lost form of acting. And just the fact that Shadow of the Vampire, exactly, Steve. Shadow of the Vampire wouldn't even know Nicolas Cage had anything to do with it. Like, there's no ego. He had no ego when making that movie. Nicolas Cage was just like, this is a really cool story. I want to see it on the screen. Willem Dafoe should have won an Academy Award for being Max Schreck. It's a phenomenal film. I can't say enough good things about Shadow of the Vampire.
That's like when you find out that like Mel Brooks produced The Elephant Man,
Yeah.
Yes.
And
The Fly.
Yeah.
And The Fly.
I didn't know that one.
Yeah.
Which Fly?
Cronenberg's Fly.
Really? I mean, he's old. No, he's old enough. Maybe, I don't know. Probably not. Okay. But wow, I didn't know that. Okay.
And he specifically was like, I don't want my name on this, yada yada yada, because they wanted the Fly to stand on its own. And I have so much in the same way that, what's kind of crazy, like nobody realizes Danny DeVito was one of the producers on Pulp Fiction. Like, he makes a lot. Like Danny DeVito's wealth comes from Pulp Fiction. Like, that dude makes serious bank.
No doubt.
Movie. Like, he owns a piece of that movie, like, and the merchandise and whatever. Kind of crazy when you think about it. Truly.
One of my favorite Nicolas Cage tidbits that I've kept all these years is he's a huge opera fan, apparently, and he loves Wagner. And you can find him at the opera, just sitting there and just like openly weeping, like over the opera. People have said they've seen him at opera just by himself and just like super into it. I thought that was just really cool.
Yeah. I know he's not a perfect guy and he's, a weirdo and eccentric, but like, dude named his son after Superman. Like, come on. He named his son Kal-El. It's so awesome.
When he found out that T-Rex skull was stolen, he gave it back.
Yeah, he gave it back.
Even though he wasn't the one who stole it,
Yeah, it was pretty honorable. A pretty honorable thing to do, I think. So I'm blown away. I knew the daughter, or sorry, I know his daughter-in-law, and I knew her. I met her in Israel when we both were living in Israel. And she, they had twins, and I, like, every time on Facebook, whatever, I see the picture of these twins, I'm like, those are Nicolas Cage's granddaughters, and it like blows my friggin' mind. Like, I'm like that, like it just totally like blows my mind. I'm like, you are like kind of related to Nicolas Cage. Like, this is like crazy to me, just absolutely crazy to me. By the way, he just got married for the 5th time. Congrats to Nick Cage for your
This will be the one.
This will be the one. 30 years. It took, that she's 30 years younger, and the heart wants what the heart wants. And Nicolas Cage seems to be very happy. And I hope that they have a long, wonderful life together. Yeah.
As someone in my 30s, moving on out of them, but in my 30s still, thinking about that age difference is presently nauseating. That's not comfortable to think about. I don't like that.
Well,
but ask me again in 30 years, and maybe I'll change my mind on that.
Yeah. So, how's the math on that work out? Like, someone, a woman would have to be born today. I'm assuming you're. That's unfair of me. Someone would have to be born today, and then when they were your age now, then you could marry them. How would you feel about that, Tim?
I can't even process that information. That's so weird to think.
I get freaked out because my partner, we weren't even in high school during the same years. Like, we're only 4 years apart, and that's it. Mm-hmm. Like, but we discovered recently that we have you know, when we think of like, we grew up on totally different Disney movies just in those 4 years.
The kids I teach weren't alive during 9/11.
Yeah, that freaks me out.
I said, you know, like on 9/11, and they're like, and one of them goes, "My mom told me about that." And I was like,
oh man,
damn,
Jesus Christ!
I felt like I was 3,000 years old.
Yeah. My lord, that is nuts. All right, so now we're gonna play a game. Here's the game.
Okay.
And I love this stuff. It's like mental. It's just such fun. It's like a fun mental exercise. So last week we talked about the concept of don't remake good movies, although there are definitely a few exceptions where that has worked out really well. And we talked about that too. Don't remake good movies, remake bad movies, but with good ideas, or bad movies that might have a lot of heart, but maybe they just have bad execution, you know, and how would we remake them? What sort of angle would we come at these movies with? Like, example, last time, what was it? Oh, it was Society by way of Ready or Not.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like something like that. So that's the game. And you got to think of a movie that is, like I said, it has to be a movie that is, and we can, you know, everybody can rattle off a title, and whatever sticks, and we'll just riff on that. And just, I don't know. So just everybody pull. I wish I should have been more prepared.
I did a little bit of homework. I picked a movie, and I just want to point out that I have pulled out my phone and looked at my my Letterboxd diary like 4 times in the last 2 hours. I still can't remember the name of this movie. Like, I've looked at it and pulled it up. Okay, so the name of the movie is The Evil Within, and I'm cheating a little. The Evil Within was a movie made by, if you know of the movie, you know that the story of the making of the movie is far more fascinating than the actual movie itself. But it was
the guy that died.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Oh, wow. Yes. Michael Berryman was in this.
Michael Berryman's in it. It's made by, it's the only film ever made by one of the Getty scions. And he died. And it's not good. I mean,
it was something, all right, to watch that in the theater.
It is fascinating. It's a fascinating movie to watch.
Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating.
But to me, okay, so I wouldn't want to remake the movie because I don't like, I think it's kind of hack to take, you know, the movie is about a developmentally disabled guy who maybe gets possessed and starts murdering people, and it's just kind of a weak, I'm not a fan of that style of story. However, there is a device in the first 2 or 3 minutes of this movie that gets used that is utterly wasted, and it is a real mindfuck, or it could have been, and it was not. The movie starts with the telling of a fable maybe or something. It's the telling of a story about a woman who's taking her son to a fair, to a carnival, like a carnival or something like that. And they go on the scary ride, right? And they go through the scary ride, and it's just like a dark room. And then they come out of the scary ride, and they're walking away from the carny, and the kid's upset or dissatisfied. And the mother's like, "What's the matter?" And he's like, "Well, it wasn't a very scary ride." And she says, "How do you know it's over?" And it's such a perfect fucking horror device that is completely wasted in the next instant and is just totally pissed away for the rest of the movie. Like, there's never any reference back to it. There's never any use of it. It never gets employed at all. And I don't want to remake the movie. I want that. I just want that one setup of, you know, the kid goes through this disappointing ride, and then, because, you know, I love those movies where, like, sometimes it's really, really hack, like in Secret Window. That's it. Secret Window. The with Johnny Depp as the guy killing his wife and burying her in the backyard or whatever. In movies like that, it's really obvious because they like push the camera through the mirror, and then now you're on the other side. It's just really, really very obvious. But in the first 2 minutes of The Evil Within, I got really excited because I realized that even though, like, visually, we have the device of the mom and the son sitting in the little car and going into the dark room and like the darkness washing over, and
I'm
then
so
the darkness.
sorry.
Oh,
I'm so sorry to cut
no.
you off. That is not the name of the film. It is not The Evil Within. I'm trying to remember the name of because I was just searching for what I wrote about this film. It's not The Evil Within though. It's you have the wrong title, but I'm trying to.
I don't have the wrong title. I do not have the wrong title.
No,
I do
he's
not
right.
have the wrong title.
Steven's right. I've seen this movie.
I've seen it too.
So Evil Within with Michael Berryman with the weird spider things with Sean Patrick.
Yes,
Flannery.
Yeah.
Yes, took 20 years to make.
Took 20 years to make. It's called. Listen, good. Not.
Are we all just gonna start looking this up now?
I'm looking it up right now.
It is. I am looking it on.
Oh shit! You're right. It is The Evil Within. It wasn't coming up on Google. All right, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Hi, I'm wrong. I apologize, and I apologize for cutting you off. I'm sorry. Okay. I just thought the title was not right, and I'm so sorry. I apologize. Wrong.
I will find it in my heart to forgive you.
Continue. Carry on.
But I love those devices where it's like when you go back afterwards, you can realize, oh wait, maybe that's where the world changed, right? Like that's where, like I will confess, maybe this isn't related. I will confess I hated Minority Report. Like I just the whole like. I was so pissed off at how pat the ending was, how everything got so cutely wrapped up. And then like, I don't know, 10 years later or something, I read that it wound up on the list of movies where it's like they're so much more enjoyable or they make more sense when you think of how the last act didn't really happen. Like they say Taxi Driver, you can interpret this way where the end of it didn't really happen. It's all Travis's dying vision or whatever. But with Minority Report, they're like, okay, well, the movie basically ends when he gets locked up and frozen, and everything else you see is his freezer prison dream, because he gets frozen,
right?
And like then when he gets pulled out, everything works out for him, and suddenly it makes a lot more sense. So I've been meaning to go back and take another look at that. Even like it's tough because I hated it so much the first time, but I like when movies do things like that, where you go back afterwards and you realize you learn something later in the movie, and it recontextualizes what you saw already. And so you have to go back and in your mind kind of walk back through and say, okay, well, what does this mean now that I know this? So the device of like, I don't know, man, I can't really describe just the weird kind of hollowness I felt when she said that in the movie. Like I got really excited, because I felt like this thing was really going to fuck with my mind and really play with, unreliable narrators or unreliable perspectives and things like that. And it didn't do anything. It did none of that. So I just want that device. I just want to take that one device out of The Evil Within and make a movie around it, and not get accused of ripping off The Evil Within, because The Evil Within fucking wasted it. Blew it.
The Evil Within felt like, when I was watching it, I was like, it's one of those films where it's like, it really is the body of work from a one filmmaker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like The Room. Like I thought about The Room a lot when I was watching The Evil Within. It's the same sort of situation where you have a filmmaker making a really bizarre, just absolutely bizarre, out of the box film. They're trying to do it seriously, and what they end up with, they have this very, it's funny, you notice between the two films is there's very stilted dialogue.
That
doesn't really, and especially in The Evil Within, there's some really stilted dialogue, some really dark moments, and you kind of get that. That's a great device. So what would you apply it to?
Oh, God damn it.
Where are you going with this? We need
that's the thing, right? Like it's I think it would be better.
How about take that device and let's put it in another movie that is also bad execution with a good idea, and use that device. We now have to use that device to tell the story when remaking another movie. So we have our device. Yeah. That's the one. That's the engine that we want to go forward with, right? And then what is a movie that had a fundamentally good idea, but just was not properly executed? Another film we talked about last week was the Beast Must Die. That's another film. Great idea, horrible execution.
Yeah.
The Beast Must Die has like a really solid gimmick. Like I love that moment where it just pauses and goes, "Hold on. Can you figure out who the werewolf is?" And it's like, no, fucking course I can't, because you didn't play fair, you assholes.
Yeah. So
they did not play
that. And that's also the plot of what's funny, one of the Howling films does something similar like that as well. But what is but what is a movie like that and like that that could really use a remake?
It should be something where there's a fundamental like change in the rules during the movie, you know, like
I like that. Yes.
And the only way
happen. What about what's the movie with Deep Blue Sea? What about Deep Blue Sea? Maybe some
Deep Blue Sea is a perfect film, Jeff. What are you talking about?
It's fine as it is.
It does what it needs to do.
Okay. What about Tammy and the T-Rex? What about?
I don't know. I'm not sure you could do much to improve. I mean, I think that's exactly the movie it needs to be.
Yeah, that's true. You're right.
I mean, again, you have a T-Rex using a payphone, and that was worth. Like, I got to see that in a packed theater in Chicago, and most of that audience was drunk as hell, and they had no idea what they were in for, and it was a delight.
Of that film is pretty insane. They're like, we have a robot T-Rex for a week. Let's do it.
Yes.
That was literally how it happened.
Yeah, it's like, you have a week. Here's a robot. It kind of moves. What are you gonna do?
I'm going to.
Here's Terry Kaiser.
Yes.
I think I might have a good example of this. There was a movie that came out maybe 10 years ago. It's called Repo Men, not Repo Man.
Yes.
With Jude Law and Lawrence Fishburne. I was all in on that movie until the horseshit ending, where it's revealed that Jude Law got hit on the head, and that most of the cool scenes were all in his head, and it was like a brain dead dream or whatever. And I was so fucking angry when that happened. I almost asked for a refund. Like, that's an example of the director thinking that they're smarter than the audience and going, I tricked you.
Yeah. Oh, I think you froze.
Uh-oh.
I thought it was me again for a second.
Nathan entered. Nathan's in the Phantom Zone. That's what we're going to call it from now on.
Okay. I got something that's going to piss everybody off. I watched a movie recently that was strenuously, repeatedly, vigorously recommended to me. In fact, I had friends who were shunning me until I had watched it. And then I watched it and I wanted to punch all these friends. Phantasm.
Oh, dude.
Yep. I knew it. Like, I'm starting some shit, but I watched Phantasm, and it has one of these weird rules changes things, you know, and I wonder whether we could shoehorn, you know.
Yes,
well, I would say that.
Nailed it.
I mean, Stephen, I would say the mechanic that you're talking about fits within the aesthetic of Phantasm and kind of the world that they have there, because it is. I'm going to be honest. I'm someone who doesn't like the aggressive, like what Nathan was describing about Repo Man is one of the most angering bullshit moments in any movie.
That's what made me think of Phantasm.
But the one thing I like, I mean, I'll be honest. I'm one of many people who thinks Phantasm is dope as hell. But
I know.
but again, I can understand where you're coming from, because it is nothing but not nothing but it is rug pull after rug pull after rule change, and it's the dream logic. It's like the movie's like a nightmare. It's like, yeah, but also
that's what
there's not solid ground you're on. I mean, it's a delight, but I also understand the frustration of that.
I'm getting a lot of shit in the comments right now.
Yeah. People fucking love that movie. I am one of those people, but I understand.
I like 1 and 2.
Go ahead, Brian.
I enjoy 3, and then
I like the first 2. 3 was
4 is
okay. Then it
four
gets kind of
bad. 4 is a bad movie. I mean, I'll say it.
And then the most recent, the last one, is just kind of sad because all your favorite characters they're getting older.
Yeah.
And the
last one is incoherent.
Michael Epstein said the last one probably cost $36. So
yeah, the last one, just kind of bums me out.
Nathan's back. Hey, Steven hates Phantasm. Let's get it.
I think I kicked myself off accidentally. So
I just said something so heinous that your computer spared you from hearing it.
Listen,
well, then I guess that's good then.
Steven, I'm kind of with you on this a little bit. I don't hate Phantasm. I have a deep respect for Phantasm. I've watched it twice.
Mm-hmm.
I've never, I don't really connect with the film. I respect it for its filmmaking and what it got taken, what it needed to, what Don had to do to make it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it does suffer from, a lot of that sort of stuff. People call it dream logic,
mm-hmm.
but what that is like, he's
it's
just taking a bunch of, he's just putting a bunch of stuff together and voila, here's, this movie, but people really key in on it. I think it is something that fits in that category and that would work. Personally, I don't know who you would get to make that, but
I wonder if it
I thought that was the whole thing. Was it be us? We'd be
no, that's what I'm saying.
No, it's cool.
I agree with you. I'm saying that would be. I don't know who we would get to who I'm talking about filmmakers, like a director, if they were to approach it. I know we would retool it ourselves. Actually, I would start from Mars. That's where I would start from. I'd start from the Mars angle. Okay, right? Because there's a dimension. You go to Mars, right?
Yeah, he's a space. You didn't know that? Yeah, he's a space guy that crushes corpses and makes them into.
Okay, so is that what Listen, this goddamn fucking movie. If you give me some of that Star Wars MCU bullshit where you're like, well, you just have to watch all the sequels and then you'll understand. No, I will not.
No, it's in the first one.
It's not in the first one. They go to another place. There's an extra dimension or something.
Yeah, that's Mars.
Nobody says Mars. Nobody says aliens. Is nobody?
No retconning.
It's Mars
it's in the exposition right after that. He's like he takes him to his world and then he crushes him down.
It's a fucking weird movie, dude. When you think about it, it's such a bizarre movie. I wonder if it has to do
with when you see it, because I saw it as a kid. It was one of those. I'm aging myself here, but I'm old. But Channel 11 in New York and Channel 9, they used to play horror movies during the afternoon. So I saw a lot of these dark 70s, don't movies where the main character would get eaten by creatures or whatever at the end. They would play during the sun is still out, and I'm channel surfing as a child, being traumatized, and I just happened to see the ending of Phantasm. That was my first exposure to it, and we had the mirrors on the back of the closets and all that sort of stuff. So that triggered something. And then, of course, you had all the don't movies where someone goes into the basement and little creatures eat them or whatever. It's that's what the 70s were. It was just
it's tried and true.
Don't be afraid of the dark.
So it wasn't until 88 when Phantasm 2 came. That was my first issue of Fangoria, and it was oh my god, they're making a sequel to this movie that terrorized me when I was a kid. It was one of those things that was just coming full circle. But until then, I just was convinced that the tall man was just gonna just pop out or something was gonna grab me, and I think back then there was a lot of Hammer movies playing and something about Angus Scrimm, his old world look. He just had that sort of old classic look to him. So there was a creepiness to him, and it just I don't know, it just worked for me. And the music, of course, the score is great. That should have been my Blu-ray. That should have been my Blu-ray.
All right, let's remake.
I'll be honest, that actually almost was my my selection. I would seek them out. It was like it was an either or, and I'm like, okay, well, didn't piss anyone off tonight. Good.
It should just be set in Pluto. It's the planet of the dead. See, I love this. All right, Paul in the comments is starting us off here. There's no more Mars. It's Pluto, the planet of the dead, and what's happening is there's an ice cream. No, it's not an ice cream man. That's Reggie is the ice cream.
That's Reggie. Yeah.
Is Pluto a planet again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a dwarf.
Okay. I'm gonna
look. This is semantic bullshit, and I apologize for even starting us on this road. It just popped into my head because I know it was a planet, then it wasn't. And now I don't know where we're at with it anymore. So I'm out of the loop on Pluto things. I'm old. It's fine. I know that, it's like TikTok. It's a kid's game.
It's all about Mars these days anyway. Don't worry about it.
Let's
kids are into Mars, TikTok. I can't.
I like this idea of Pluto. Let's lob it up. I'm gonna start. So the tall man is working somewhere. I don't know where. Somebody fill in that part. The tall man works somewhere, and
I think you're gonna have to veer away from the tall man because I think you're gonna have to completely veer that because otherwise you're gonna get a Nightmare on Elm Street. Let's replace the most iconic person in the most iconic role. That'll work.
Old lady, Grandma Jones. She's the old grandma that lives. I'm sorry,
Helen Mirren. Helen Mirren could play the tall woman.
Yeah.
I would vote for Betty White.
Oh, yeah. Betty White.
She's not going anywhere.
Betty White, grandma. She's the Grandma White. Okay. She lives at the end, the last house on the left. And she bakes cookies for all the neighborhood kids and some kids. It's kind of like Stephen King, Stranger Things. Kids start disappearing when they veer off to the last house on the left. And then we somehow need to get, I like this idea of Pluto. The kids are being transported to Pluto and being crushed. Somebody take it from there. What's happening? How is this going down? Anybody?
I can't even write my own script.
I mean, we could just go like a Baba Yaga angle,
Okay.
Just start throwing mythologies in.
Do it.
Pile them on. I don't know. I'm still trying to tie in Pluto because, again, all I know is it was or it wasn't a planet.
Okay, how about this? Sorry, go ahead. You go ahead. Go.
Okay, so I'm gonna. All right, I'm thinking about that ride thing, the device.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna maybe throw out a bummer here. Let's say, what Helen Mirren or Betty White or whatever is a Baba Yaga figure, and the kids are disappearing, and I'm gonna jump out to the bird's eye view after everything's over. It turns out she's just murdering kids, right? That's the whole thing. But we're somewhere around the middle of the movie. Our kid, whoever we're following, does a dare, one of those go into the spooky house dares or whatever.
Right.
And that's when the big shift comes. Like he finds a portal to Pluto, and he's wandering the fields of the dead and whatever. And at the end of the movie, there's some hint that, okay, well, this hasn't been real. You've just been dead for half the movie because you were murdered by a child murderer.
I like that. And the doorway has to be through the icebox. When he opens up the freezer icebox, he gets sucked in. There's a vortex. It's a polar vortex that transports you directly to Pluto, where there are instead of red dwarfs, there are blue ice giants, but they're super skinny like Jack Skellington.
Yeah, because of the gravity.
Exactly. It's the gravity that does it. And they're just stacking dead frozen children in pyramids at like these giant ice pyramids for their deathy ice blue like death god.
I'm into it.
I don't know.
I think
closed.
I'm not going to say that we're going to run into a who is our audience problem when our protagonist is a child that we kill off halfway through the movie. We might need to roll in some other characters for people to at least like have not like have hope, but to be like, oh, well, at least Johnny survived.
Right.
Maybe. Geez.
So we get that nonsensical scene at the very end, just like we'd had at fucking Phantasm, where suddenly it's a whole different set of people who are actually dead. And oh my God. Oh, fucking Michael and Sophia. I'm so mad at you. They're the ones who made me watch this movie.
Okay, what about this? So then Reggie pulls up in his ice cream truck, and the kid thinks he's still alive, right?
Yeah.
And Reggie's like, hey, help me get this box of fudgy nutty bars out of the back freezer. I'll give you a free, popsicle if you do it. So little Johnny drops his bike. It's the middle of a hot summer day. Drops his bike, goes to the back of the ice cream truck, and Reggie is just directing him. And all of a sudden, Reggie takes off his sunglasses, and his eyes are red, like beaming red, as he's talking. And his voice gets lower and lower. With each word he says, his voice drops an octave as he directs little Johnny to the back of the truck and goes, they're behind that box. No, around the corner.
Nice.
Around the corner. And then suddenly creepy. Johnny opens his eyes and little teeny tiny icicles, crack off his eyelids as he realizes that he's not crawled into the freezer, but into the polar vortex somehow. And he is on Pluto in the center of one of these ice pyramids as we zoom out to see that Pluto, the reason why Pluto looks like a spiky little blue ball is because it's covered with
dead children.
Pyramids of dead children, all frozen and just decrepit statue-like poses for the deathy ice blue.
You
god.
Are speaking my language, Mr. Frumess.
The end.
Child ziggurats.
Yes, I love it. Child corpse ziggurats. I love it.
Who's the audience again? Okay.
We are the audience.
Look, we're not.
Wrong is, of course, in love with Science.
We're clearly not going to bring this to Paramount and be like, gentlemen, we have your summer blockbuster.
I thought the idea was to make it better.
All right. You know what? Hold on. Let's invert this. I want to invert this.
I'm with you. Phantasm is a perfect movie.
Let's spell Phantasm with a Z so that we can differentiate it from the other ones.
Yes.
I love it. And the Z can be made out of dead children.
Although
obviously
now I want to spell it with a Z and then put a Z at the end for phantasms. And then just set it in the 90s. And just make it the most 90s shit we can. Like a tall man on a skateboard, neon everywhere. Everyone has catchphrases.
Hello, young kids.
Yeah.
What if
do a hologram of JT Walsh? We'll be good to go.
What if there's like a set of elder characters that remember when Pluto was a planet, but then you have this whole new generation that doesn't know that it was a planet once thought of. So maybe maybe there's a
thing.
Maybe they're seeing. Maybe someone in the older clan, the older groups are seeing the phantasms. Like you mentioned, the tall figures. Maybe those can be the harkening back to what the tall man was. Maybe there's a whole army of them, but they're seeing it they're seeing the dimensional split or something like that. Like some people are seeing it, some people don't. I don't know. It's just something that popped in my head. It might be a little Stranger Thingsy, but
nope, we just added it. That's great.
Or
added it.
Or you make the porn version Phantangasm.
Oh!
That's all I can give you. That's all I have.
That was good. Wait. I want to listen. We're winding down here. We're going to land the airplane. I want to do. Let's since we got some backlash for Phantasm. Now let's invert it. Ready? Let's invert this. We're going to do a romantic comedy from the most fucked up horror movie
Serbian
situation.
Film. No.
Oh no, it can't be. Excluding the Serbian film because I feel like that's I don't
I
know
thought
how
that was
it-
already a romantic comedy.
Yeah, let's do so. No. Think of a move. Think
I
of
was watching it
something.
wrong.
Something with no romance, or something that's not already full
Yes.
of romance, like Sallow.
Void-
You know,
Right. Right. Exactly. Void of that could be. Hey, let's get it. It's like, hey, I know this great house. We rented this house, an Airbnb in the hill,
on
the hills
on
of
the
Italy.
Italian countryside.
Yeah. It's an Italian villa. Let's go. You know.
I've always thought about the Nancy Allen, John Travolta characters from Carrie. Like, if they didn't die that night, they would definitely be like in an abusive relationship. Because it was.
Oh my God.
They were
Dark
headed down
movie.
a dark road.
Yeah.
You know.
It's a dark.
Or Nancy Allen and John Travolta from Blowout. I mean, that works too.
That was worse.
Yeah.
I can't watch that movie. I don't like that movie.
That ending is so.
I
dark.
hate that.
Dark.
Oh my God.
So dark.
I hate it.
Justwatch.com blowout.
What about Saw? But you make it like a dating app that they have, and each date is like some kind of a trap they have to get out.
Would you like to go?
Oh my God. Yes.
They're emotional traps.
Yeah.
Yes. I love that.
Like, do I look fat in this? And the guy's like,
And then he has to play a
You have
tape.
10 seconds to answer.
oh, your head explodes.
If you say yes, you can say yes, or you could say no.
I feel like I feel like you'd have to still put Tobin Bell in it as
Yes.
like, but just very cheery, like as though he thinks he's doing a good job.
Can you
Like
picture
he's
him
helping
like
people.
in like a red polo shirt and a smile on his face and like a nice press pair of khakis?
I cannot envision that, but
I can
I
envision that.
want to make it, I
Tobin
want it
Bell
to
in
happen.
the
Like,
bridges
it
of
seems-
Madison.
Oh my God, like Tobin Bell and Shawnee Smith and a meet cute. That would be awesome.
Shit, I want to see that.
Yeah. Like he's out to get revenge. She found her way into one of his traps. You know, like
Does she even want to get out of this one? I know.
she like throws the key away to like stay in the trap, where she has to like saw off her foot. And he like finds out
But
that like, yeah, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say the tagline could be like "Love hurts." I like,
Yeah,
like
love it. We have a comment here that I really like from
I saw
Il
that, yeah.
Message. He said, "Henry, portrait of a serial killer in love." And when I heard, because when I think of Henry, portrait of a serial killer, to me, I don't like true crime. I'm not a big true crime guy for a bunch of reasons, but Henry, portrait of a serial killer is one of the few exceptions. I just think it's such a stark, like just a brutal but really good, well-made movie that takes its subject matter very, very seriously in a non-exploitative way. I don't know why, I don't know how, but the idea of Henry being one of these guys who draws people's caricature portraits in like Times Square or something, and he sees a girl that he really likes and he like draws her portrait and like he has to find her like across the city and he slashes his way to her. Henry, portrait of a serial killer in love. I don't know.
Nice. That's like such a good seed title right there. Ill Message 77. Good job. Like fantastic.
I like that a lot. So yeah. So if anybody else doesn't have any other stabs, I think we're gonna wrap things up.
You can turn any Walter Hill movie into a rom-com because there's no romance in any of his movies.
What about The Assignment? Did you see The Assignment?
Is that the one? Oh God, no! Is that the one where she wakes up?
Turn that into a romantic
that is
comedy.
Radioactive. I will not.
Yikes!
Yeah.
Yikes!
You guys are all saying "ooh, yikes"? I don't even want to know what this movie is.
I don't even know if I want to explain it to you.
I'll give you the quick log line.
Go ahead.
A person wakes up having been having had gender reassignment surgery performed on them against their will.
Oy.
Yeah.
Michelle
And it's
Rodriguez.
an action thriller.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Michelle Rodriguez as a
It's Michelle Rodriguez.
Michelle Rodriguez. Yeah.
What's it called?
It's called The Assignment.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't.
From a guy who used to be a really good director, but not anymore.
Yeah.
Who directed it?
Walter Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with I guess like an HBO movie or something called The Assignment that starred Aidan Quinn.
Yeah. Donald
as
Sutherland.
a guy who looked like Carlos the Jackal. So the government like hired him to pretend to be the Jackal so they could trap. You guys, you saw this, Nathan. You know that the movie exists.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Okay,
I remember it existing. I have not seen it.
It's
but
a very
I
90s film.
it happened.
Remember Aidan Quinn?
Yeah. I remember The Jackal with Bruce Willis and
Yes,
Richard
Gere.
Jack Black.
Just-
Isn't Jack Black like
Jack
he's
Black
like
gets killed by Bruce Willis.
Gets
in
his
that.
arm
he's a
blown
guinea pig.
off.
Yeah, he's a guinea pig.
Mm.
Jack Black. is
Sidney
in so many-
Poitier was in that movie, for crying out loud.
What?
And Richard Gere was doing an Irish accent the whole
Yes, he
movie.
was. Who did it better, Brad Pitt or Richard Gere?
Brad Pitt had the sense just to say it so that you couldn't understand anything he was saying. That's the smart way to go.
We have another comment. Kevin Smith's Tusk, but he falls in love with the Walrus Man.
I like he puts LOL. I don't know.
And we have Dahmer, a love story. That is yikes.
Yeah.
Yikes.
So I don't know. I don't want to get into a whole thing. I'm sorry. But listen to the You're Wrong About podcast episode on Dahmer, and it's actually not that far off. It was he's just
it was a love story for him.
Was like, I'm not
Yeah.
excusing anything he did, but he was a desperately lonely man who never learned like how to be around people. And like sometimes after he would kill these guys, he would just kind of keep them and lie with them because he didn't know how to be a person with other people. And he really was crushingly lonely, and it's kind of depressing.
That makes me sad.
Yeah, it's a bummer. It's a great podcast though. If anybody's You're Wrong About, it's a great
All right,
podcast.
so
Okay,
for
sorry.
the next time we meet, this is a homework assignment. For the next time we meet, we're going to conclude now. But for the next time we meet, you have to turn Ace Ventura into blend Ace Ventura with a horror film. That's for the next time we all convene.
Can we
horror film.
Can we pull the transphobia out of it?
Transphobia. By the way, I have to say, I rewatched Ace Ventura, and the entire, I think we talked about this, Stephen, already. We did on one of your holdout episodes. The entire third act is predicated on at the expense of a trans woman. It's like kind of insane. Like that was like what
it's the whole fucking thing. It's like
it's kind of crazy. It is kind of crazy and you literally go back and like they're like the entire screenplay is predicated on a bunch of dudes like just realizing that they made out with a dude or a woman who used to be a man, and that's what like it's just weird. It's just weird.
Yeah.
I never liked that movie, and now I know why.
The second one is a funnier film.
I think the second one is funnier, much funnier, especially with the rhino birth.
Oh, the guy when he comes out of the rhino, I almost passed out from. That's a funny gag.
My cousin is the pregnant native.
Oh,
that he presses his stomach down on. That was like, she was doing like movies, and she was helping out like Sam Raimi PA films and stuff like that. And she was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'm in Ace Ventura 2. I'm the pregnant woman." And that's her. That's her big kid.
Well, there you go. There you have it. All righty then. All righty then. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been another great episode. We'll see you sometime in the future when we get our act together and do another one of these things. We have a nice way of closing out. We say peace and oh shit. I already fucked